Welcome to the full Mega Drive collection video. I finally got around to filming it. You're going to be seeing approximately 185 boxed Sega Mega Drive games, which means there are no unboxed games in this video, but I know you guys are going to be in for some surprises along the way, and I'm going to break it down into categories to make it easy for you guys to follow this entire episode. We're going to be taking a look first at games you don't typically see, and then we're going to be taking a look at some of the favourites in my Mega Drive collection, including one mildly controversial one that I do need your opinion on, and then we're going to be taking a look at the rest and how these things fare on the shelves back there. Obviously, if you saw my last episode, you'll know that we're waiting for a house to complete, and we will be moving. We will be moving into a new lady lounge and new lady loft, 2 rooms. It's going to be very exciting, but we're not there yet. This one is about the Sega Mega Drive boxed game collection. So the first category of Mega Drive games are the games you don't typically see. We're going to highlight some of these, starting with 2 Crude Dudes. Now, if you haven't played this, I would highly suggest that you go and snag yourselves a copy of this. If you think along the lines of kind of Streets of Rage merged in with a bit of Double Dragon with a sprinkling of Final Fight, you've got a really good game in 2 Crude Dudes. And whilst the sound isn't that great, like the music lacks a little bit, it's a pretty awesome game. And speaking of pretty awesome games, we've got this little beaut here, The Haunting. This is a nice isometric kind of like weird game that, like, gameplay, I can't even think of anything that mimics the gameplay of this. We just have to haunt all of the residents in this house and snag some points, basically. So it is a pricey game, but nonetheless it is a fun game and definitely worth having in your Sega Mega Drive collection. Now here's a classic. We've got some Turbo Outrun here. Outrun is a formula that works time after time after time, whether it's on the arcade console, you name it. It is absolutely brilliant. But fun fact, I'm actually terrible at Outrun. But nonetheless, we've got a little bit of Turbo Outrun. You will also see Outrun later in this video. Now you'll see here Xeno Crisis. I'm going to spotlight that in a minute. You saw a Japanese copy as well as a PAL copy. Xeno Crisis came out last year, and the guys over at Bitmap Bureau were kind enough to send me pretty much their full kit. There's a Dreamcast game, there's, like I said, the Japanese Mega Drive, the PAL Mega Drive, and here we go with a little bit of the kind of gameplay here from Bitmap Bureau. This is a very, very difficult game, and I streamed it. I streamed quite a bit of it, actually. It's also out on the PlayStation 4. You can get it digitally on the PlayStation 4, and it's really nice to see some of the Mega Drive games still coming out today. And that is definitely one that you'd need to go and snag as well. So we're going to continue then. We're moving on with a little bit of Atomic Runner right now. This is a very tricky game. It does require a lot of agility and fast reaction times to be able to be good at this. Something which I lack, but I know a lot of my fan base out there really do enjoy this title. So that's why I really wanted to kind of feature it. We've got some classic James Pond, some Corporation, which is very, very blocky to say the least. I mean, it's one of those games that when you go back to now, you're like, whoa, I actually played this as a kid and thought it was good. Yeah, maybe not. Pugsy, we got a lovely little platform game here. Packed full of colour and personality. I really enjoyed this one. It reminds me of the old school Amiga games. Certainly lacks in terms of frame rate, but nonetheless it's just fun because it just takes me right back to being like playing the on the Amiga with my friends back in the day. So those titles tend to be here. They're very, very rarely in shot, and that's why I think you guys might not be as familiar with those titles, because you've probably seen the background many a time on my intro, my episodes, etc. So we're going to move on to the next section now, and these are some of my personal highlights from the Sega Mega Drive era. I love the SNES more, but I love these on the Sega Mega Drive especially. And I'm booting this one off with a hardcore Jungle Massive, little bit of Jungle Strike, the isometric chopper, shooter, rescue mission. I mean, things go on in this game that back in the day, my 16-bit eyes I just couldn't get my eyes off the screen. I love Jungle Strike. There's lots of different strikes like Desert Strike, etc, etc, but Jungle Strike for me really just shone. And I've always been a fan of Predator the movies. I love the whole kind of jungle warfare ethos, and I think that's maybe subconsciously where this really taps into my gamer brain, if you would. And this is a cracking little title. I'll hold it up. You'll see gameplay on screen nonetheless anyway. Back in the day, the graphics on this were revolutionary. This really did test the 16-bit hardware of the Sega Mega Drive, to say the least. And I think it's a worthy title on your Sega Mega Drive collections too, if I can get my words out there. Speaking of pretty amazing games, this one may come as no surprise, because what would the Sega Mega Drive have been without Streets of Rage? We definitely wouldn't have had a Streets of Rage 2 had we not have had the first. I have a soft spot in particular for the second one. I prefer the music, I prefer the levels, things just seem a little bit more polished. Unfortunately, I can't say that for Streets of Rage 3. Good game, but definitely is still eclipsed by Streets of Rage 2. If you've not played it, I honestly... In fact, let me ask you a question. Have you played it? Let me know in the comment section. If you haven't, we're going to have a chat, you and me, in the comment section, because this is bloody brilliant. And it's one of those staple titles that really did help define the Sega Mega Drive, not just on what it was back then, but what it's become today with, say, like the likes of the Mega Drive Mini. And utilising solid titles like this to push the hardware even into 2020 and 2021 and hopefully beyond. So Streets of Rage 2 is another classic 16-bit title. Next up then, we got some Disney goodness with Aladdin. Okay, you're going to be saying, well, this is not just a Sega Mega Drive exclusive. It came out on the Super Nintendo, but I did enjoy it. I actually played it first on the Sega Mega Drive before I ever even had a whiff of Aladdin's, the genie bottle thing. Yeah. Before I had a whiff of the game on the Super Nintendo. It's a good game. It's really nice colour palette, little side-scrolling action adventure with all of your favourite Aladdin characters. Really awesome. You've got to check it out, guys. And maybe you don't have a Mega Drive, so you can actually go and play it on your Super Nintendos as well. Now, here's the controversial one, okay, because it's kind of good and bad news with this next title. I'll give you the good news first. In my hands, we have a copy of Mega Man, the Wiley Wars. Okay, really one of the most expensive games on the Sega Mega Drive. The bad news is it's a repro, but it's a damn fine repro at that. You guys can check it out. I love the translucent kind of coral blue case as well, game as well. And I got this for £30. Now, if I was to, let me backtrack. I'm not a huge fan of repros. I've said that before, but I will accept a repro in this condition for the measly sum of £30, because it looks good on the shelf and I do play it. So it is missing a repro manual. I might even be able to get a brand new manual for a hefty price on eBay when I'm not buying a house. But that was the kind of discussion I wanted to open up with you guys. What do you think to repros in general, especially ones of this quality? Picked this up a number of years ago in Game and Movie. So that's the kind of only controversial title that I have in my Sega Mega Drive collection, but it's still a personal favourite of mine. Obviously, we've got the gorgeous Sonic and Sonic 2. I've spoke so much about Sonic and Sonic 2 that I'm not going to speak about it in this video, but please note that they are titles that are in my top, like my favourite games of the Sega Mega Drive, as is this next one. I think Sonic 3 can sometimes get a very bad rap, but actually I think Sonic 3 added a lot of value to the previous two games. It really did build on with the introduction of a new character, hey, we got the cheats in here as well. I love opening games and like finding cheats in. I'll read it after. But yeah, it's like, I'll have a look at that. But I think like the whole kind of, this for me felt a little bit 2.5D. You've got like foreground, midground, background, and I think that Sonic 3 really utilised that formula much better than it did in Sonic 2. So really happy to have this. Not the best special stage in the world. The special stage on Sonic 2 is still my absolute fave, but it's very, very rewarding when you beat the special stages on Sonic 3, and I think for me that's sometimes where the challenge can just be that little bit more refined. It's an absolute belter, and obviously you can play this with we got it up there, where is it? It's the kind of add-on with Sonic and Knuckles as well, so it's pretty cool. And then finally, as a fan favourite of mine, this is mega up there. We have some Micro Machines Turbo Tournament rather. 2. I've always preferred the second one over any of the others. There's like a military one. This is the one I played most with my friend Daniel. Check it out. You could have this like 2-player share option with the D-pad and then the buttons, so you could literally just like use one controller to play 2-player, and I think that's really cool back in the day. And the characters, we've got Bruno, Cherry, Jethro, Edina, Jeremy and Delora. Really fun, really eclectic, really cool, and really diverse. I think it's fantastic, and this is, it's quite cheap, it's quite plentiful, and you can pick it up in most places, high street, whether it's CEX or in your local retro game stores. So we've seen things that you don't see as much in my collection, or perhaps not on camera. We've seen some personal favourites of mine. We're going to head over to the shelves there and take a look at the remainder of the boxed Mega Drive games. So we're over to category 3 right now, and you may be familiar with some of these titles as they've tended to appear more in my videos. Now this was a game that I think I picked it up from CEX quite a while back, and it's a really interesting game. It's not one that I was familiar with so much as a little girl, but certainly as an adult, it's one of those games that for me is kind of reminiscent of kind of the speed of Contra, or Super Protector as we know it. Perhaps a game a little bit slower here, Back to the Future 3, which is very, very clunky, but I really like how there's a variation of like 2D platforming versus the kind of isometric stuff. I think that's really cool. I think that has a little bit more charm for me, rather than it just be the same monotonous kind of gameplay. You do get quite a little bit of variation. Now here's a classic. We've got some Shinobi, Streets of Rage and Golden Axe with the Mega Drive 2 Compendium. Obviously there were 3 Mega Games, Mega Drive 2, Mega Games 2 Compendium, along with 1 and 3 that will be shown in my collection as well. So, Booger Man. This always intrigued me as a kid because I just think that the box art is really, really gnarly, and it does hold up even by today's standards. And in terms of its gameplay, again a little bit clunky, but just really fun, especially if you grew up playing the Amiga, because it's kind of very reminiscent with the, you know, like the score at the top or bottom of a screen on Amiga games. They like pop really brightly, nice big massive fonts, and I just love it. I see so much charm from the Amiga days within the Sega Mega Drive, and for me that's one of the really nice points about the Mega Drive in 2021. So we're going to kind of carry on then. In a minute, we're going to be taking a look at another game that came out recently. I say recently, it was around 2018, 2019, and that's Tanglewood, another game that was kind of just special because it was like made on original hardware. So if you've not played Tanglewood and you do want a new Sega Mega Drive gaming experience, I would definitely urge you to go and check that out, whether it's just go and have a look at Twitter reviews, or there's a review on my website as well at juicygamereviews.com. Links in the description. So some classic James Bond here. This was a very, very recent pickup. Again, a CEX buy. Really cool. You don't see that around that often. And speaking of Tanglewood, here we go. We are a fox-like creature trying to find our way in life, and it's a beautiful, charming game with a great storyline. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've done my Super Nintendo collection recently, and now we've just polished off the boxed Sega Mega Drive, or rather Sega Genesis collection. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and if you're kind enough, hit that join button or the second link in the description to become a channel member with different perks, free stuff included. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. Have a good one. I'll catch you on streams over on Twitch this weekend, and more YouTube shorts and episodes next week. Bye. I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.